All right, we're gonna bring up Kingerd's video here. All right, so Kingerd did a video. I think it's about 5-6 days old now, and it's called IGN and Rocksteady's beef was wild. Okay, so we're gonna react to this. Here we go.
Welcome to tonight's matchup, ladies and gentlemen. In the red corner, we have the highly esteemed publisher of reviews such as a 2 out of 10 for Just Dance because all you do is dance, and a 5.9 for Alien Isolation.
Hold on a second.
Because it was
That starts off great. That's it? No, really, that's all you do. A 2 out of 10 because dance, you just dance. Is that what they said? Please tell me that's true. Too much dancing and Just Dance.
dance because all you do is dance, and a 5.9 for Alien Isolation because it was hard on hard mode. Please welcome.
It's hard on hard mode. Oh, for God's sakes. You know what? These have to be true. This has to be true.
Welcome IGN! And in the blue corner, we have the studio behind the critically acclaimed Batman Arkham series, who have recently turned live service lapdog
Put a battle pass in it. Make it suck.
Warner Brothers games with their release of Slip and Slide Squad. Give it up for Rocksteady!
I appreciate that. Appreciate that sub. Appreciate that.
At face value, this rivalry probably kind of looks just like bad game plus bad review equals bad blood, but the tension between these two seems to go a lot deeper than that, for some reason. One might say that putting it that simply wouldn't quite do the story justice.
Come on.
Oh, brother, this guy.
On the one hand, we
Oh man, Kingerd, I love your editing style. I love your editing style.
We've got gaming journalists whose opinions are definitely not swayed by sponsorships, professional relationships, or online bandwagons. Unless, of course, a reviewer gives a game a 10 out of 10, then later gets hired by the studio who made.
That's interesting, huh? Let me rewind that a second. Okay.
Sponsorships, professional relationships, or online bandwagons. Unless, of course, a reviewer gives a game a 10 out of 10, then later gets hired by the studio who made the game. Not sketchy at all. Unreliable journalism, live service games. Well, I hate both of these things, so who less biased to comment on this story than me? Oh, and so that
I love that. He knows. He's like, yeah.
you know where I stand with this game, my super controversial take on it is...
Yeah, it's mid. Look, I like Suicide Squads. I don't think it's a fantastic game, but I enjoy it.
I think it's just...
I had no problem with IGN's, score of it. Okay? I have a problem with their score based on what they said. They gave a lot of good stuff in there, and then they gave it a mid-tier score, where they gave other things where they shit on the game, and they gave it a better score. Just kind of weird.
Just mid. The game's mid. But so that you don't get the wrong idea, this video will not be shilling for this game or huffing copium just for the sake of dogging on IGN. I'm not going to pretend to like this game more than I do just to make a point. But at the same time, I'm not going to pretend to dislike this game.
I love... How long does it take him to come up with, like, I'm going to use that clip. I'm going to use from Full Metal Jacket, the clip from there.
More than I do just for the sake of being agreeable with the internet.
Do it. Do it.
No matter what anybody tells you, we're allowed to point out IGN's flawed logic and hypocrisy, while also thinking this game is mediocre at the same time. I don't think it's trash. I'd be lying if I said I didn't at least have some fun while I was playing it. Yeah, see ya. What is that? Hold flashlight. Oh! What was that?
Come on. You fell for the... It was in Batman Arkham. That's how he explodes.
What was that? Of course, it's him.
Did Harley just mock me? I don't know who with a Boston accent is in a place to mock anybody. Or is it a Jersey accent? I don't know what it is. Ugh. But I really don't think it's worth $70 either.
And I agree with that. It's not worth $70. It's definitely not worth $100. This is why I said if you wait to go on sale, minimum $50. But I think it's like a $40 game.
Plus, full-priced game.
But at the same time, $40 for this. If you buy it down the road, okay, like Season 4, it will be $40 or less, and yet you're going to get more content for that price.
Games that have microtransactions in them, day one is arguably the greatest sin of mankind.
I agree.
Yeah, forget all that Apple stuff. This right here, yeah, this is why we're getting an apocalypse. Please save us, Nick Cage. We can safely add Unalive Squad to the pile of fully priced virtual magazines pretending to be video games. What's that? Are games too repetitive? Well, if you want more content, buy a $10 shirt for Captain Boomerang and we'll make it more fun.
That's right. Cosmetics always make a game more fun, especially if they're in first person. But at least this game's in third person.
Maybe. I'd recommend Guardians of the Galaxy instead any day. Single player, no live service, and emphasis on story. That game slaps. So yeah, there. But seriously, no matter which way you swing...
It's all right, Kingerd. I just went down a whole rabbit hole of stuff. Someone will probably clip out something.
No matter which direction on the pendulum you swing with this game... IGN's absolute vendetta against it is still hilarious to look at, so that's what we're going to be doing today. And also, big shout out to my friend 30
Oh shit! That's me.
and Still Gaming for helping me compile this timeline of events. Go check out the guy's channel for your daily dose of gaming updates
Hit that button. Hit that button.
and based takes. Anywho,
Base takes. Thanks, Kingerd. Appreciate that.
somebody ordered a metaphorical hit on Rocksteady, and IGN said, sign me up. So let's get into it. After they got to play a hands-on preview of Unalive Squad, IGN posted their impressions on January 9th by Destin Legary. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And it very plainly stated in the headline...
Well, Jax, he asked about how many times did IGN tweet out and stuff like that. And I already did some research and stuff like that I posted in my Discord. So I didn't know he was making a video of it. So
we played it and didn't like it. Even though there was some optimism in this article, the headline was very strongly worded.
He stinks and I don't like him.
And it gave plenty of people an idea as to what IGN's stance was on this game without actually having to open the article. But what's wrong with that, Kingerd? Haven't you criticized when people are optimistic after promotional play sessions? Yes, absolutely, but let's take a look at what exactly this article says was wrong with the game.
Oh, this is the one that talks about Batman. It's not a Batman game, right? It's not the Batman game we wanted.
Also keep in mind the hate train for this game had already left the station by the time this article came out. And I'm sure that had no impact on what IGN
No. X for doubt.
had to say about the game. Well, first off, writer Destin didn't like the whole premise of incapacitating the Justice League in the first place. Well, that's odd. IGN didn't seem to have a problem with offing Justice League.
This is my point, right? I don't like that you killed Justice League members. Exhibit A.
Members in Injustice or Injustice 2.
Yeah, 8.2 and 9 for killing the Justice League members. Amazing.
And I get there's different IGN writers who put out different opinions, but if IGN really wanted to avoid having one person's opinion be known as
the IGN opinion,
then I would think they'd post multiple reviews of the same game written by different people. I mean, having different opinions under IGN gave us this infamous clip.
I think we're at the point where we need to admit that this was never really a great franchise, and that was never really actually there.
Sonic was never good.
Yeah, it was.
Sonic was never good.
25-year lie.
Yes. Sonic was never good. If you disagree, you can call the cops.
Oh my god. What is wrong with...
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
2,000 years later.
You're right. I was wrong. When I went on that show, I was remarking on what had been like a recent era, and what happened there is I ended up speaking on behalf of all of IGN, and that's unfair. Is that Sonic has been good, and it's Crash Bandicoot that's never been.
he switched from Sonic to Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, okay. Okay, here we go.
And possibly and probably deleted their article glazing Rose Tico from The Last Jedi. Rose Tico.
Who got destroyed? Who got destroyed, Jax? That's BS. They got destroyed for this? Who got destroyed for this? IGN got destroyed for an 8.2 and 9 for Justice League? Or for Injustice? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't get destroyed. He's not... See, you're taking it out of context. The context thing, though, is that... Oh, for the Sonic. Okay. I thought you were talking about the Justice League getting killed off. Right? Because he's using them as an example of the reason they had problems because the Justice League was dying, but they didn't have a problem when Justice League died inside that game. Right? You're talking about the Sonic. Yeah, that's what he's saying. They got destroyed for it.
Tico absolutely steals the show, which I mysteriously can't...
Wait a minute. What happened to Rose Tico?
And probably deleted their article glazing Rose Tico from The Last Jedi. Rose Tico absolutely steals the show.
Bro, did I miss that? Did I miss that? Did they actually say Rose Tico was the shining... Oh my god. What?
Tico from The Last Jedi. Rose Tico absolutely steals the show, which I mysteriously can't find on the internet anymore.
Conveniently.
Yeah, when IGN realizes they're on the wrong side of the bandwagon, oh, that's just one staffer's opinion. So I say do that with reviews too. Why not? Well, according to IGN, they don't do multiple reviews for the same game because that'd be too hard.
Oh yeah. Too many reviews is too hard.
Miss Brandt?
Yes.
Get me a violin.
I'm being a bit facetious. It's a little more complex than that, but it is an intentional decision on their part. So, if the IG...
Hold on, I want to read that. In short, attempting to review things multiple times would create an unsustainable amount of work, dramatically increase the cost, and cause of plenty of confusion for very little gain, especially in a world where aggregate scores already exist. Ah, okay. Well, now I know where you stand, IGN.
That, but it is an intentional decision on their part. So, if the IGN gods want to handpick one staffer to share one opinion on one game, then I think it is fair for us consumers in return to look at that one opinion as
The IGN opinion.
so spare me.
Right. So what he's saying is that they can't review multiple games because this one person is representing what IGN believes. So when we say that IGN, they're like, well, it's just one person's opinion. Well, which one is it? Is it the IGN opinion? Or is it the IGN opinion of the person that you hired for that one person's opinion? Right? Which one is it?
Anywho, Destin's next big criticism in the preview for Unalive Squad, spread across multiple paragraphs, can be summarized in just 4 words. It's not Batman Arkham.
That's the big thing. This is why Suicide Squad failed. Right? This is why it's lackluster sales. It's not Batman.
Now look, I am the last person to defend live service games. I mean, look at my channel, but I'm gotta give a little bit of credit where it's due. Rocksteady never marketed this as another Batman Arkham game.
True.
Same universe, sure, but anyone who's been paying attention for the last couple of years of its promotion should have known full well that it was not...
Right. Looking at this in 2021 and going, wait a minute, this is not Batman. Like, this has never been marketed as a Batman Arkham game.
Meant to be compared in terms of its gameplay mechanics. It's not like they were making a brand new pirate game that in their marketing they stated repeatedly that it was inspired by and meant to be an improvement upon Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag's pirate mechanics.
While working on Black Flag?
We're not making Black Flag 2.0, we're making our own game, but we really went to school on what we've done in the past.
And how the team's experience and expertise from working on a...
It's so close. Skull and Bones is so close to Black Flag. The only thing in common is the water. That's it.
Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag inspired them to embark on this ambitious new journey.
Which then turned out to be an absolute shell of the same type of gameplay they'd already done before. And it's a good thing too, or else IGN would have given it a 7 out of...
When I read this review of why they gave it a 7... Look at the thing at the bottom. But with strong start to live service that's got a year of upcoming content mapped out, it's already quite seaworthy. Amazing.
And it's a good thing too, or else IGN would have given it a 7 out of 10, saying it has a good foundation and is a good start? Now, hey, put your pitchforks down. I too would have preferred to get another Batman Arkham game, but Unalive Squad and Batman Arkham are just an apple and an orange just covered in Arkham universe paint. You know, I would think a game journalist would know to judge a game on its own merit, not the merit of a 9-year-old game that the...
That's our problem, Kingerd. That we're assuming that these people have integrity, but they don't, right? Why would they judge a game on its own merits? Right? They're the professionals. They know what they're doing.
Studio never said they were trying to replicate. It's not like they called this game Batman Arkham 4 and they just pulled a fast one on us by making Batman a villain and having us hop around as a minigun wielding, possibly gay?
Hey, he brought it up. Yeah.
And having us hop around as a minigun wielding, possibly gay shark mutant with no indication of this in the marketing. But what do I know? I'm not a professional game journalist.
That's right. We're not professional game journalists.
I'm just some snot-nosed YouTuber. This, of course, was followed up by the heavily memed on take that the Flash fight sucked because the Flash was too fast.
That will never get old. I'm sorry. That will never get old. Right? The Flash is too fast. One of the dumbest things, right? Superman's too strong. Flash is too fast. Water is too wet.
You get a handful of shots on him before he teleports to the next location, so you're just trying to chase him down or catch him standing in one spot long enough to get hits in before he does it all again.
Yes, because the Scarlet Speedster has always been known for his uncanny ability to move very, very slowly.
Yeah, real slow.
Now, I hear the argument that it doesn't make for good gameplay when the boss is moving too quick.
Where do they say that? In the vid? Yeah. They say the Flash is too fast.
Quickly, and this is a game, after all, so gameplay is important, but I'm debating if we played the same boss fight or not.
I do wish there was a bit of a he's down, get him moment.
This is the best part. This is the best part. I wish there was a he's down, get him moment. There is. There literally is.
But unfortunately, it seems like that trope wasn't used here.
But like, that's exactly what you do in this boss.
That's exactly right.
It seems like that trope wasn't used here.
But like, that's exactly what you do in this boss fight. He's down! Get him, boys! Would you expect Destin, the bullet sponge Flash, to just T-pose around the map for you? Then Destin criticizes the too familiar mission types and mentioned that there'd be ways to change up character builds, and he seemed into that stuff. I think what's the most telling for me about the negativity in this article, that negativity that is heavily reflected in the title, is that Destin admits that he's played a lot of grindy looter types of games.
And when you pair this disconnect with game mechanics straight out of the likes of Destiny, Anthem, or Marvel's Avengers, I'm left worried about the final product coming together in a way that works. And believe me, I really want to be wrong about it.
Not only is Rocksteady one of my favorite developers, but this genre is one I've spent far too much time in across Destiny, Anthem, and yes, even Marvel's Avengers.
Let's keep this in our back pocket for later, but for now, just...
Okay, I will. We're taking that, chat. We're taking that. We're putting that in our back pocket, okay?
Remember, IGN's frustrations with this game didn't start with this game.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that was my problem when they first started their coverage of this. I was like, but you guys are taking criticism to this game that are not with this game.
They started with games from other studios from up to 7 years earlier, and received review scores of 7.8, 6.5, and 6, respectively. So with this negative preview gaining traction online, and with how many times they reposted it, I mean, how could it not? By my count, I think they posted it at least 4 times. At a time that was...
It was more than that. It was more than 4 times.
Most critical for Rocksteady to drum up as much hype as possible, only weeks from launch, IGN just came out swinging with an uppercut to the jaw.
Come on, who's with me, huh?
Nobody.
Now it was Rocksteady's turn to move, and they moved quickly.
January 11th, 22 days until full release.
2 days later, on January 11th, Rocksteady partially released players who had participated in alpha test back in November from an NDA.
Was it 11? 11 times, Salty?
The NDA had so far prohibited those players from talking about their time with the game. They still couldn't show imagery or video, but now they could at least talk about it. Let's just ignore that little leaky leak there. So why did Rocksteady...
Hold on, what did that say?
Talk about it. Let's just...
Suicide Squad game spoils run wild online. Warner Brothers tries to squash leaks.
Just ignore that little leaky leak there. So why did Rocksteady lift the NDA when they did? Well, if you're interested in a guess from little old me, I would say they were doing damage control. I think they were hoping that there'd be some positive impressions that would wash out the stink.
I can see that. I can see that.
Of IGN's negative one. IGN's wasn't the only preview out there, but it seemed to be the one that generated the most buzz.
All right, so Eurogamer said, but as an online shooter, live service elements and perhaps trend chasing more than sticking with some of the studio's best. And then Game Informer said, emerging from hands-on session, I feel much more confident in Rocksteady's long-awaited follow-up, critically acclaimed Arkham series, but I still have several questions.
And did the NDA lift work? Well, sort of.
Yeah,
it was pretty divided in what people praised and criticized, but I would say it definitely helped having more opinions out there that...
Yeah, because when more people actually played the game, because here's the context, though, right? Leading up to it, we had a beta playtest where hundreds of thousands of players played the game for literally 30-plus hours for that weekend, okay? And then they made the content creators play like 4 hours. And then they finally released it to everybody that actually played more hours, and people were like, yeah, it's a fun game. Where Destin played for 2 hours, 3 hours, and Flash was too fast for him.
Argued with IGN. There were people that said their take on the Flash fight was stupid. They disagreed that the character banter was annoying. They said that no, it's actually pretty funny. So at the very least, Rocksteady was successful in starting a flame war. Alright, Rocksteady, why don't we just brush off our shoulders, get ready for launch, and... Oh dear God.
January 27th, 2024. 3 days early access.
January 27th, 3 days before the early access period was set to launch. A tweet from IGN's executive review editor, Tom Marks, was posted that explained exactly what Rocksteady had done. We won't have our review of Squad the Justice League.
He can't say the name of the game because it gets nicked.
At launch, as review codes have not been sent ahead of time. In fact, Warner Brothers Games has declined to send IGN codes at all. Do my eyes deceive me?
Well, I don't know if he's going to go into this. Probably will, because he's good at what he does. But they didn't give out any codes to anybody, right? But IGN had to make it about them. We didn't get a code. So everybody that's a fan of us, and they have 17 million followers, by the way, okay? They didn't get a code, so everyone's like, well, we didn't get a code, so this is the reason, right? They didn't get a code for Helldivers either. And nothing was said. Just remember that.
Did IGN just get slapped with a "Take that!" from Warner Brothers Games? Now let's be real, there's a few angles to this, all of which I think hold some weight.
Angle number 1.
I mean, yeah, why on God's green earth would they want to send IGN review codes after the hit piece they put out? I mean, if you go to a sorority party and poop in the dryer, don't be shocked when they don't invite you to the next one, you clown. That is a true story, by the way. I didn't do it.
Kingerd. You did it, didn't you? You took a shit in someone's dryer.
Angle number 2.
Oh man, hold on. I want to watch that again.
If you go to a sorority party and poop in the dryer, don't be shocked when they don't invite you to the next one, you clown. That is a true story, by the way. I didn't do it.
Angle number 2.
He probably didn't do it.
IGN, let's just get this out of the way now. Nobody owes you review codes.
That's right. Nobody owes you a code. Nobody owes you a code. I don't care how big, how small, okay? My opinion, Sarge and I have talked about this on GXG. Everyone should buy their code. Everyone should buy the copy of the game. Okay? Everyone.
It shouldn't be an altered world event when you have to buy a game at the same price as us at
Kylo says, wait, that's not a normal thing?
the same time as us. Plus, in my opinion, it's pretty much impossible.
Oh, did he say? Hold on.
Review codes. It shouldn't be an altered world event when you have to buy a game at the same price as us at the same time as us. Plus, in my opinion, it's pretty much impossible to avoid any sort of bias whatsoever when you invite people to preview events or give them early access for free in the name of reviewing your game.
We're gonna make a lot of money together.
Just remember who you're working for.
Here's a hot take for you. How about no game review codes to anyone at all? Put everyone on the same playing field and have them all buy it at the same time. And actually buy it.
What is that now? Hold on.
On the same playing field and have them all buy it at the same time. And actually buy.
Most reviews are conducted using publisher, studio, developer provided review copies and screenings.
Buy it. I get why they do it. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. I mean, I'm not stupid. I know me yammering's not going to change anything, but just saying. Maybe then we wouldn't get total meltdowns when game reviewers don't get copies of the game for free, like we did from this game's previewer, Destin Legary.
I'm sure this game is going to be great. I gave Curse of Osiris a 5.5, and Bungie still sent us codes.
That sounds so... It sounds so entitled, right?
Not sending IGN review codes after my negative preview is ridiculous.
No, what's ridiculous is you bitching on social media that because one company didn't do it, that this company is, right? But you have no problem with this, right?
And I'm not even on the review. Not a good look. He's right, no one is. But to send out no codes at all, or...
Yeah, that's a big deal, though, right? They didn't send a code not just to IGN. They didn't send codes to anybody.
Be selective with who gets them should certainly send a message to customers.
See that? He's right. No one is about to send no codes at all, but to selective who gets them should certainly send a message to customers. What are we talking about here? Right? You're taking it a little personal, aren't you, Destin?
I don't disagree with some of the points Destin's making here, but man, does this come across
so entitled.
Like a rich kid who got the wrong colored Ferrari for Christmas.
That's exactly what it sounds like, right? Regardless if he's right or wrong, it comes across as being really, really spoiled on, well, I didn't get one. This looks really bad, and all the customers should take a look at this.
Finally, angle 3.
Rocksteady, this backfired on you hard. After all, why...
Entitled's a better word.
Why would a studio who is confident in their product not want reviewers to put the reviews out before the game launches? It really comes off as though you don't want people to read reviews before they buy it. And when we see that,
That is correct as well. Okay? Now, other games that are live service didn't give y'all codes either in the past, but they don't bring that up either, right? Because of the server type of thing. But yeah, if you don't see reviews before the game comes out, it does look shady.
Usually that means the game's in trouble. Doom 2016 and Prey are exceptions to this, but I bet most people see that as a red flag more than they see it as you sticking it to IGN.
Yeah.
But I really don't see why IGN had such a problem with it. Purely for comparison's sake. Helldivers 2 didn't give out early review codes either, and I didn't see their
executive review editor
raging about that.
That's right, because it's hypocrisy.
No, I'm sure the
executive review editor
being mad about not receiving game codes won't have any impact on a game's review at all. And no, I'm not comparing the quality of Unalive Squad to Helldivers 2. Shut up. I'm just talking about IGN's selective outrage.
That's exactly right. The selective of how one doesn't work for the other, right? A live service game that has a roadmap already out for Suicide Squad is bad, but Skull and Bones, it's pretty good because they already have a roadmap ahead of it. And it's rough now, but that roadmap's going to be good. Suicide Squad has a roadmap and they're like, nah, right? Helldivers didn't give us a code, but Suicide Squad didn't give us a code. shit on this, not shit on that.
Rage about not getting early access codes. But as it turns out, Rocksteady didn't just not give out early access codes to IGN, they didn't give them out to anybody.
That's right.
Well, Rocksteady, the public perception is that you've officially declared war on IGN, and people are taking sides. You better not slip up or IGN's gonna blast you. Again.
January 29th, 2024, early access launch.
On January 29th, Rocksteady's early access period had to be halted due to bug fixing. Apparently a huge bug that made people start the game as though they had already completely beaten the campaign and were just hanging out in the endgame. And to be fair, IGN's not the only institution that reported on this, plenty of others did too. And as much as it stings my loins, I've got to play devil's advocate for IGN just a little bit here. They've reported on similar instances for other games too, even...
And that's not the problem. I didn't report on any of this of them having problems with the game because the game is actually broke, right? The game actually had problems, and they're allowed to report that.
Looters that they reviewed more favorably, like Diablo 4, for example. A 9 out of 10, really?
I mean, it definitely wasn't a 9, but, you know.
Viewed more favorably, like Diablo 4, for example. A 9 out of 10, really? All right.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but all right.
It's a good thing you don't have to grind for loot in Diablo 4, or IGN would have torn it a new one. Am I right? But surely you didn't think old Kingerd would let a botched early access slide, did you? Look, I've beaten the proverbial early access horse into a coma by this point, but I will say it again for the people in the back. $30 for 3 days of early access is an impatience tax.
That's a good word for it. That's a good word for it. $30 for 3 days early access is an impatient tax. Now, as a content creator, obviously, I got to pay for it if it's something, a game that's current and you want to get clicks and views and whatnot, right? That's what they go for. Now, obviously, if it's a game I'm not interested in, pick it up on day one, pick it up a week later, whatever.
Congratulations to those who couldn't wait 3 days.
We did it. We did it.
You played yourself. Granted, though, Unalive Squad servers were back up 6 hours later. And then the next day, bam, taken down again for more maintenance. In case you needed another reason to despise always online requirements for games that really shouldn't need it, we can go ahead and add losing playtime in a 72-hour...
Yeah, this would piss me off. There's people that paid the extra $30 and couldn't play at all. What's his name? Was it Doomkiller? He paid the money up front and could not play for almost 2 weeks. Okay? I would lose my shit. Actually, I would have got my money back, and he couldn't get his money back, so it even frustrated him even more.
Hour period you paid extra for to your collection. To apologize, Rocksteady gifted $20 worth of in-game currency to the deluxe edition owners. That's right, you paid with real money, but we're not gonna give you real money as a reimbursement.
No, we're gonna give you fake money back in the thing so you keep coming back. Epic did that with Fortnite with V-Bucks.
Reimbursement? We're a business here. How about some in-game cosmetics? Yeah, right. Well, great going, Rocksteady. You gave IGN the opportunity for not just one haymaker, but two. And they're just getting started.
January 30th.
The following day, on January 30th, IGN posted this article with the headline, Unalive Squad is already down to just 44 pounds.
This was such a bullshit article.
Before release day in the UK. Now, if you take the time to read this article, you will see that for some bizarre reason, what they're actually reporting on is an eBay listing for someone wholesaling the game, basically. Now, like, I'd get it if they had the headline like, grab a resold copy of this game on eBay at this link. But that's not what they did.
No.
You cannot convince me that one single person saw this post on Instagram and said, oh, they're not implying the game is bad, they're just informing us of a sweet deal on eBay.
Right. Right. It's exactly right. Suicide Squad is already marked down 37% in the UK before launch day. That was 100% to drive that this game is bad.
eBay. It gives me the impression wow, this game is so bad, it is already reduced
That's right.
in price before launch.
They knew exactly what
A
they
lot
were
of
doing.
commenters like to throw the word clickbait around, but this
That is 100% clickbait.
right here, this is what clickbait looks like. And guys, we're still not even to the release of the game yet. IGN's worst hit pieces are still yet to come.
January 31st, February 1st, early access period.
We're now between January 31st through February 1st, during Unalive Squad's early access period. On January 31st, IGN posted a podcast episode to YouTube. In it, they discussed the game during a segment, and the link's in the description if you want to hear everything they said in full context, but if you'll allow me to summarize this, if I'm not mistaken, only one person in this podcast had actually played it, which was Destin, who, if you recall, was the one who wrote the "We Didn't Like It" preview at the start of this timeline. Starting at about the 27-minute mark of the video, Destin actually starts giving what sounds like a pretty balanced take on his time with the game so far.
Well, I'm going to start positive. There are things to like about this game.
What? That's amazing.
A lot of people online seem to be acting like it's just total trash. I think there are redeemable qualities to the game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like
I
totally awful.
Well, when he's not being cut off by Ryan McCaffrey every 5 seconds anyway.
I do not enjoy the gameplay.
Yeah. Let me interject for a quick second, Destin, just to...
You watch a cutscene for 20 minutes, you play and kill like 3
enemies. Wait, did you just say 20 minutes? You're...
I highlighted that in the preview. And
that reminds me of Halo 5's campaign.
It's actually pretty funny to me that twice...
He interrupted him so much.
Twice that I saw in this podcast, someone brings up IGN not getting review codes to the game, and both times the conversation gets shut down immediately.
But the whole code thing, it's sort of like whatever. Like, IGN just buys my code anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So if that's the take, though, Destin, why even tweet about it? Right? Why even do that then?
I mean, but it's like a bad move on their part. It just kind of,
it's very
into it. But it's
Rose, are you listening to what they're doing? Like, you're okay saying a game is bad and whatnot, but this first of all, this video is not about their review. This video is about the hit piece stuff leading up to the actual game coming out. You understand the difference, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay,
I mean, nobody cares, right? Nobody in our audience cares. Like,
I'll just briefly mention the code thing. That's PR. That has nothing. That, for me, that's like a Rocksteady thing. That was a decision. Probably not. I don't know who made that decision, but like, it's whatever, right? Sorry, Ryan. I want to talk about it a little bit, but
well, like I said, I don't think our audience really cares. Nor should they, quite frankly.
No.
Like, it's not.
It shouldn't factor into the game at all, like when you think of it.
And that's it.
At least it seems like some of the staff at IGN seem to recognize how petty and childish it looks when they complain about this. And then they made me buy the game like everybody else.
Sort of like whatever. Like it's whatever. IGN just buys my code anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It shouldn't factor into the game at all, like when you think of it.
And that's it.
I bring this...
Look at that again, right? Listen to the audio with the clips that was there.
Sort of like whatever. Like it's whatever. IGN just buys my code anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It shouldn't factor into the game at all, like when you think of it.
And that's it.
What was the point of going to Twitter and complaining about that? If it wasn't a big deal that IGN bought your code and it looks bad or whatever, then why did you tweet about it? Why did you make multiple videos off of it? Why did you do all of that stuff? It wasn't a big deal, and IGN picks up the tab.
Bring this podcast episode up because I have to ask, why is the balanced take being given here not present in the packaging of any of IGN's other content so far?
Yeah, you had previewed it, and the slice you were shown, you didn't super care for. Not a blanket, like, hated the whole thing. You talked about some things you liked, some things you didn't. We live in this polarized online world where everything's either amazing or the worst thing ever. And it's like, the reality is, it wasn't just going to be a garbage fire. Like,
I'm all for Rocksteady trying a new thing. Like, they didn't need...
Oh, are you? Oh, please. please cut to the dialogue that he said during his review. Please.
To make Batman for the rest of their life or anything like that. Rocksteady had a winning
God, I love you, Kingerd. God, I love you.
Formula with the Batman the rest of their life or anything like that. Rocksteady had a winning formula with the Batman games, Arkham series, Batman Arkham Knight.
Why do I have to go 27 minutes into a podcast episode on one of IGN's side channels to get an opinion on the game that isn't headline hate bait for Twitter? Yeah, so I kinda liked how the game... No cynicism here. This is not the review. Seriously, if you go watch that podcast, like, that's how this comes across.
It does.
Played a bunch of it. You are not reviewing it for IGN.
I'm at the final boss.
Because I don't want people to take your...
No, Simon Cardy is reviewing it. It's not a review. I think in the review, until I read it, after I read his review.
By the way, did you know IGN is posting a review? I don't know how which writers get selected to review which games. Like if it's whoever can run the longest with an Oreo between their cheeks, or whoever wins the intern mud wrestling contest gets it. I have no idea. It's just weird to me the way that they seem to order the importance of different opinions at IGN based on who's assigned to write the article and who's not. And my friends, speaking of articles, January 31st was a big day. This was the day that IGN finally released the IGN review.
January 31st. The IGN review I thought was fine. I thought Simon's review was fine. It was just weird, and I personally lost interest in IGN in the moment that he said in that review that Avengers had more endgame than Suicide Squad, which is just false across the board. They didn't have endgame in Marvel's Avengers for 1 year.
Written by senior editorial producer Simon Cardy, IGN's review scored Slip and Slide Squad a 5 out of 10. For full transparency, I actually agree with almost everything that Simon...
I also agree.
Says in his review.
Nice. That's nice. He did it. Hold on.
I agree with almost everything that Simon says.
Simon says.
In his review.
It's also a shame as there's a good story being told in well-made cutscenes with snappy writing and performances carrying a lot of the weight. But beyond that, Squad the Justice League never consistently offers enough fun to go toe-to-toe with the successful games in this genre.
But one thing he did say that I found outrageous. Crystal Dynamics' unsatisfactory efforts, he's referring to Marvel's Avengers here, offered better variety and more endgame goals to aim for. Now,
that is just straight up lying.
I'm no expert on Marvel's Avengers.
You want to explain yourself? What are you doing?
But that is...
Yeah, 23 days. A lot. It's a lot.
Is markedly false. And yes, I know it's not the highest bar to surpass in the first place. And I know at the end of the day, most of you don't care whose endgame sucks worse. But I've got to put in my 2 cents here. Unalive Squad is miles ahead of where
100%
where Marvel's Avengers was when it launched. That game just had you running around the map, basically opening loot boxes and then restarting the mission.
That's right. That's right. That was the end game in Marvel's Avengers, right? And if I'm reading your article, and if he said anything along the lines of, you know, this is the better end game at launch than other games in the past, but it's still lackluster, I would have been okay with it. But coming out, for me personally, it decredited his whole review when he said that this game, Marvel's Avengers, has more endgame than Suicide Squad, because at that moment, I look at it and say, you have no idea what you're talking about, and it decredits everything you just said ahead of time, because how am I supposed to trust you? But apparently, he was betting on, okay? He was betting on people not knowing that there was an endgame or not an endgame when it launched. And that's why he uses his example, because Marvel's Avengers is very polarizing when it comes across of being a bad game.
Not having fun? That's okay. We'll release a new $14 skin next week you can buy. But going back to the earlier point that it's not always the content in the article, sometimes it's the packaging that gets the most impressions. There's actually a lot of positivity written into this review.
Yeah.
I mean, enough to where a 5 out of 10 kind of feels low for all the positive stuff he says about the game.
I agree.
Can you guess what IGN did with this review? If your answer was pick out the most negative quotes in it and post it repeatedly, you're a winner. And by post repeatedly, I mean like really post repeatedly. This review was originally posted January 31st, and I'm recording this on February 14th, and I'm looking at yet another reposting of it on IGN's Twitter. I get that engagement is like how you make your money on Twitter, but my god. You already knocked them out cold, stop curb stomping them. Alright. They posted the review, everything.
Reese says, I don't know if they put a ton of stuff out on Starfield. I did someone do a count, or is it more articles on Suicide Squad than in my Discord, me and Krebsy were going back and forth, and I showed 45 articles written for Suicide Squad in 30 days. There wasn't that many articles written about Starfield on their Twitter account in 5 months, Reese, for Starfield.
Everything was building up to this. I'm sure we can all finally move on, right?
Absolutely not.
No. IGN had one more Be More Petty card in their deck, and they were about to play it.
February 1st.
Keep in mind that during this time, the game still has not released in its standard edition, meaning the majority of people who still planned on playing it did not have possession of the game yet. If you're not already familiar with the situation, I'm willing to bet you will not guess what IGN posted. On the day before the game's official release, IGN posted the final cutscene of the game's story to YouTube to spoil it for everyone.
Think about that. Think about that. IGN, the people that are supposed to have integrity, writing an article to help the fans, right? The day the game came out, they put the cutscene out, okay, for the end game, like for the game, before everyone else bought the game. A little weird, isn't it?
I mean, they posted a spoiler video the day before this as well, but I'm just
Yeah, there you go.
now bringing it up because it fits into this point. Okay, seriously, did the CEO of Rocksteady, like, sleep with the CEO of IGN's wife or something? Like, what is going on here? I get that streamers kind of do the same thing when they play through an entire game on stream, but this wasn't a 6-hour stream to scrub through. It was a video posted with the sole intention of spoiling the game.
That's right. It was posted there to get engagement, to ruin the game for everybody else that didn't even get the game yet, before it launched.
And this wasn't from some schmo on the internet. This was a journalistic establishment. I don't care if a game is good, bad, if it stole your social security card and your dog. You don't do that. Or at least you don't call yourself game.
Right. We are social influence personalities in addition of being journalists. You're no longer journalists. You're griefers.
Journalists and do that before the official release of a game. The argument about the game's quality is irrelevant with this point. This is just straight petty.
Yep.
Even executive editor Ryan McCaffrey, or as I call him, professional apologist for Bethesda with Fallout 76, went back and deleted his retweet of the video's link. He still defended IGN's posting of it, but at least acknowledged, kind of, that enough people thought it was a scummy thing for an establishment supposedly with journalistic integrity to do. IGN must not have felt.
So here you go. I went ahead and watched the full spoiler clip on Post on Suicide Squad's ending, and while I do still want to try the game so I can properly form my own opinion on it, I probably won't finish it. Watch if you dare. Deleting last post as nobody liked it, which was fascinating because the actual video on YouTube had widely different comments, but that's cool. Can't win them all. But the fact that you did it as a journalist outlet is the sad part.
Establishment supposedly with journalistic integrity to do. IGN must not have felt bad though, because they kept reposting it. If you think that's all IGN had in them, IGN came here to rage bait and chew bubblegum, and they were all out of bubblegum.
Nice quote. February 2nd.
February 2nd, launch day is here. And to celebrate, IGN posts the article with the headline, Kevin Conroy's Batman is completely wasted in Slip and Slide Squad. For those who may not know, Kevin Conroy voiced Batman in a ton of Batman media, including the Arkham games and this game, and he tragically and recently passed away before this game launched. IGN's Twitter post added the caption, "A lot of fans are hopping mad about Batman's role in Slip and Slide Squad, and rightly so. Here's why Kevin Conroy's Batman is wasted in the game."
Another shitty article and a really poor, from a journalist, their words, not mine, from journalists that are supposed to have integrity and stuff in this industry.
In this article, Jesse Sheeden basically uses the passing of Kevin Conroy as yet another cudgel for IGN to beat this game over the head with. Wow, Rocksteady, this was one of Kevin's last performances before he passed away. Don't you feel bad for what you did with the character? Do you feel stupid? Are you an idiot? While yes, it's true that a lot of people, myself included, were disappointed with how Batman was used in the game. But what? Do you have to smoke to think that it is appropriate to frame the advertising of an article about how mad you are about a video game around a voice actor's very real and very recent passing? I mean, go read the...
It's because he's a scumbag. Plain and simple.
The article, it really only mentions Kevin Conroy at the beginning and the end, and mostly just writes about how the Arkham Batman send-off wasn't very good. But that's not how the packaging is framed. To use IGN's own words against them, people were hopping mad that they would try to rage bait their article around the passing of Kevin Conroy, and rightly so. One person who helped work on the game tweeted back, "Kevin was our teammate, and many of us worked with him directly for years. I would expect games journalists to know that, and understand how callous it is to use his memory to stoke hatred. We do not need strangers to tell us what he would have thought. He told us himself."
Exactly. All these people on the internet saying that, oh, this is a disgrace to Kevin Conroy. He literally took the job. He did the voice acting. He did all this stuff. And then these ass clowns made an article using his death to describe how bad the game was because of his role.
Now, this particular person turns out to work for Sweet Baby, which, say what we will about their contributions to gaming recently, kind of the amount of
Hey, we just talked about them just earlier today.
combat we've seen so far, I think this game...
It took me 3 days to notice that in the game.
Game does fine. We welcome all heroes. Oh, thank God. I was concerned that they didn't welcome all heroes.
That's right.
But regardless of that affiliation, I've got to agree with this tweet. This whole interaction doesn't look like a defense of a subpar game to me. It looks like someone who has experience with Kevin, or at least has colleagues who have experience with him, being justifiably ticked that this article uses the tragedy of his loss to try and guilt Rocksteady into feeling bad about their video game. Even if what she was saying is totally made up and she had no clue what Kevin was thinking, it's still repulsive by IGN. Like, I would rather keep seeing their reviewers go work for studios that they gave 10 out of 10s to, Last of Us Part 2, than see stuff like this.
February 9th.
February 9th, a full week after the game had been out, IGN had one last kick to Rocksteady's lifeless corpse. An article called, "I Hope This Game K-Words the Looter Shooter Trend," written by the game's reviewer, Simon Carty. Or, excuse me, the IGN God's chosen representative to review the game. Like the review though, Simon isn't overly negative here either. He notes that while it's good for studios to try new things, too many of them are ignoring their strengths and giving in to the looter shooter trend. And that's a sentiment I completely agree with, by the way.
And I also agree with that, right?
Mention a few other games like Redfall and Marvel's Avengers, but Slip and Slide Squad is very much at the center of this story, and in the headline, and in the picture. This article in a vacuum doesn't really seem odd, but put it in the context of everything IGN's posted so far, and I'm just like, you've already crapped on this game more than any other game in my recent memory. Move on. Oh, and happy Valentine's Day. Here's a performance review of the game. As to why this couldn't just be included in the regular review, I really don't know. More articles means more engagement, I guess? I don't know. Where was this energy with other premium priced looters? I mean, Diablo 4, a game that sold for $70 to $100, includes $20 microtransactions, a battle pass, and an endless grind for loot, scores a 9 out of 10.
Yep. The hypocrisy is crazy. The hypocrisy from IGN is crazy.
Redfall rightly got a 4 out of 10, but even it didn't get this much crap from IGN.
Think about that, right? Redfall was a broke, buggy, unfinished game at launch. They wrote an article and they moved on.
Even though it definitely deserved it. I haven't been on this platform long, but I've been around enough to know that this game is not in the same league as games like Redfall or Fallout 76. It just seems like for some weird reason, IGN has a throbbing hate boner for it nonetheless. If my little monkey brain can navigate a Twitter search engine well, I'm counting about 45 different tweets from IGN about Starfield, another controversial game.
There you go. He's bringing it up right now.
When it first came out. These 45 tweets spread across 5 months.
45 tweets in 5 months for Starfield. 45 tweets in 5 months.
So that's an average of 9 tweets a month. Can you guess how long it took IGN to tweet that many times about this game around its launch? 1 month. In 1 month.
So I found 45 tweets in 30 days. He found 43 tweets in a month and a half.
There were 43 tweets by my count. Elon must just be shoveling them with Twitter engagement money, I guess. If IGN's biggest problems with this game were that the servers had to get taken down for maintenance during early access, it's got a repetitive gameplay loop, and it's a live service, then I don't ever want to see a glowing review from IGN ever again about any other game that fits that criteria. Not even you, Helldivers 2.
Yeah, imagine. Right? And I live. Right? I'm enjoying Helldivers. I also enjoy Suicide Squad, right? But the same sentiment that they have towards Suicide Squad, generic terms of generic, open world, do the same things over and over. Skull and Bones got a 7. Helldivers got a 9. Got the same exact type of stuff in there. Same things, small gameplay, no story, by the way, in Helldivers. No single-player campaign. No really cutscenes, okay? Nothing. It's just a game what it is. Now, I know someone will be like, well, it's only a $40 game. Still a live service game. Still doing the exact same thing repetitively over and over and over again. But what's good for one is not good for the other, right?
2. Also, while I have the opportunity, go check out their reviews for the original Spider-Man movie trilogy. They've aged like hot milk and are very fun to point and laugh at. So yeah, this video is not a defense of the game's quality as a whole. It's not meant to be a review, even though I did mention some of my own thoughts on it. But watching this grudge match between IGN and Rocksteady over this game has been a sight to behold. A sight that has made me, just a little guy on the internet, wonder to myself, what did Rocksteady do to you, IGN? For more on live service criticism and why I think DLC sucks now, click on this video right here. Let me know your favorite IGN takes in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching. Kingerd out.
That's a good video. Good video. Yeah, it's crazy to me. Go give Kingerd his descriptions down below. You can go click on his link or his name in the description below and give it a like. That's a good video. Yeah,